Goodbye FEMA. I'm Jim Drastic.
I'm Tiffany Drastic.
And I'm Nick Knutson. And today on The Dangerous Ones, we are talking about Donald Trump announcing that he intends to sunset the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, after this year's hurricane season.
Boo.
Yeah, I mean, what the So his stated goal is to shift disaster response and recovery responsibilities from the federal government over to individual states. Federal disaster aid in total will also be reduced, with funding being distributed directly from the president's office instead of from FEMA. We will talk about that later.
Yeah.
And states are being encouraged to form mutual aid agreements and rely on each other more rather than on federal coordination. So, I mean, he really hates Americans. He's just like one fuck you right after another.
God.
Yeah.
A sunsetting FEMA sounds like its own disaster. You know what I mean? That FEMA needs to come in and fix. You know what I mean?
And just losing federal aid. What's Mississippi going to do?
Yeah. Well, we're going to get into that. Yeah.
We sure will. Yeah. So let's talk about the repercussions. Like, what does this mean?
Yeah, I mean, one of the first things that comes to mind is a delayed disaster response. You know, when you think of FEMA, FEMA is coordinated. FEMA is centralized. They are also experts at what they do. They're not perfect. I get it. Back in Katrina days, we all were like, fuck that up. You know what I mean? But they are experts at what they do, and they're centralized, and so they know how to come into a situation and fix a problem.
Yeah,
separating it up into 50 states. It's just like this. If you're hearing my voice, listen to what I'm saying.
Listen to your old pal Jim.
Listen to your old pal Jim. What is happening now with Donald Trump? He's going to sunset this on November 30th of this year. FEMA is basically saying, okay, that would be like saying, there's a McDonald's restaurant in 50 states, but instead of having one corporate entity that says, this is our standards, this is how we're going to do things, every single McDonald's restaurant has to source their own ground beef, source their own potatoes, come up with their own rules about how they're going to conduct business, come up with their own prices and things like that. It's going to be mayhem. And by the way, that's the same reason why you shouldn't privatize school. I mean, schools and stuff like that. You need a central entity to go like, we have standards that we're going to upkeep. Right. But what are some other repercussions that you guys can think of?
The other one is it's definitely going to worsen inequality throughout this entire process, because it's not the rich states that are going to suffer. It's the Mississippis, the Alabamas, the Oklahomas, like Tornado Alley, and nobody's coming. There's no money. There's no one's going to help.
Yeah.
How could you do that?
And listen, can I say really quick that, we live here in Oregon and we don't really have tornadoes or hurricanes here at all. And I'm perfectly fine with my federal tax dollars to go help people in Alabama and help people in Oklahoma who have tornadoes. Like, yes, please help them.
Yes.
Because you know why?
100%.
Because they're our neighbors. They're our fellow countrymen. You know what I mean?
And I'm not paying federal taxes, so it can go in the pocket of the president, and then he decides where it goes.
Right. Which states he likes.
Right. Part of democracy, part of America is we all put in and help the ones that can't help themselves, because there's no funding, there's no resources. I have no problem. I have no problem.
Right. And to your point, like, what if, let's say, Georgia gets really, really good at disaster relief after this?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh my gosh, they have like a great system. But like, Louisiana, like, doesn't for whatever reason. Bad leadership, whatever.
Right.
Like, sucks to be in Louisiana, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, that's just that's not how we are supposed to do stuff as a country.
That's right. We're supposed to lift each other up. And a lot of times, especially when Donald Trump is president, we feel like all 50 states is 50 different football teams and we're all against each other. Right. No, that's not true. We're all on the same team.
That's what narcissists do. They make an enemy out of everyone. And that's what they're doing.
So another one is just like increased chaos.
Yeah.
Oh my God, for sure.
I mean, it's just like when these disasters hit, a lot of stuff is happening. Random roads and corridors go out for bringing aid, and all kinds of like weird stuff happens. And the, like you were saying, the benefit of having a federal agency that has processes and procedures and all of this stuff is that there's some consistency.
That's right.
And it's just going to make the chaos worse.
And not only that, groups like Red Cross and Team Rubicon, who work with FEMA as an overall entity, they know how to work with them. They go, okay, what's the disaster over here in Oklahoma? A tornado went through, okay, so Red Cross helps with that.
Right.
Now you're asking groups like and nonprofits and things like that to go, you have to have 50 different entities as a Red Cross, which in some ways they do, but not on this scale, right? They're used to working with the entity of FEMA. Mm-hmm. Now they're going to have to work with 50 different state agencies and all this to help out with this. It's going to overwhelm them.
Yes. Ooh, that's a really good point.
It's going to overwhelm them. They're not going to be able to keep up with that. And it's you wait.
Yeah.
I mean, folks, just mark on your calendar. Yep. Things are going to get bad sauce.
November 30th.
Oh, my God. I'm so sorry for what's about to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's talk about what this is really going to look like.
Yeah, totally.
So they're shifting, specifically on the political front. So they're shifting the mechanism for giving disaster relief from the Department of Homeland Security, which currently houses FEMA, over to the White House. You think this is going to get politicized? What percentage of the disaster relief funding is going to go to red states? What are governors going to have to do
to get it?
To kiss the ring,
or
suck the whatever, to Trump to get what they need, and they will because they care about the people in their state.
Right.
Let me tell you something. Listen to your old pal Jim again. I'm telling you that's a great point, because this is the truth. This is what's the difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Joe Biden would do what's right. He would be like all 50. If that happened and he had to divvy it up he would do it equally, or do it in a way that was, he would do it equally. But we know with Trump, there's no way he's going to do that. There's no way he's going to give equal amounts to the states as they need it. You know what I mean? It's going to be favoritism.
Well, and on the flip side of favoritism, he's going to withhold funds.
Right.
Like, Gavin Newsom comes up. There's a big earthquake in California. Gavin Newsom tries to kiss the ring, and Trump's like,
go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Or does the fire thing where he's like, well, he didn't sweep the floor like I told him to.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. And people, they'll die, and they are going to lose their homes, and just the cruelty is the point. Right. The chaos is the point.
Yeah.
This is a man who is there is not a shred of humanity in him. So to think he's magically going to get it at 79 years old as the president when he didn't learn the first time, he's not, like, there's something wrong. There's something broken inside of him as a person, and he should definitely not be leading when it comes to Americans needing help.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
We want to know what you think. Call us at 503-212-4600. Call the People's Hotline 24/7. Leave a message. You can remain anonymous. Please like and subscribe this video. If you're listening to us, please leave a 5-star review. It really helps us out a lot. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so by going to thedangerousones.com. That'll redirect you over to our Substack, where you can become a paid subscriber. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.